Hello. This is a brief video to follow on from another one I made about the difficulties surrounding the government policy to avoid or abolish GP practice boundaries. In my introductory video, I mentioned this box. This is you probably can't see this terribly well, but it's a nice golden box which looks like it might have some nice chocolates in it. And I use this to illustrate a problem with this policy, and one way of trying to think about this policy and try to actually make some sense and see really what's going on. There are a number of claims made by the Department of Health and the politicians about this policy, some of them which are unfounded or exaggerated or actually don't work. And what I said in my previous video was that the important thing is to know what's in the box, not what the label is. The label is spin, but actually what's really in the box. Now, in this video, I want to look at this claim that Andy Burnham first made in 2009, and I'll read it out to you. A busy mum needs flexibility. She may want to register at a practice near her children's school. I want to look closely at this because I think it highlights one of the difficulties with this policy. So let me show you how this works or does not work. So here's the title of this brief video, Register with a GP near your school. But is this a good idea? And this is the quote from Andy Burnham that I read out to you. A busy mom needs flexibility. She may want to register at a practice near her children's school. So he seems to be indicating that mum might be helped by being near the child's school. We'll look at that a bit in a moment. These are the three health secretaries. So on the bottom right is Andy Burnham, who kicked this off in September 2009, and then had the consultation in the spring of 2010, and then it lost the general election. So Andrew Lanzi came in and took on the baton for this policy, and then when he was replaced by Jeremy Hunt is now responsible for this policy. So here's a press release by the Department of Health in December 2011 at the start of the pilot. And you will see down here that there's a mention made of the relief that people will feel at not having to change their GP when they move home, and families who would like a practice near their children's school. That suggests, in a sense, the family would like to be registered near the child's school. This is a copy of the proposal by Professor Mays and his team to do the evaluation of the pilot. And down here it says that, let's see if we can find it. Yes, this will mean that people are able to register near work or to a relative they care for, even close to a child's school. Now, it must be said that the team that did this evaluation were not asked to evaluate the policy itself, but only asked to evaluate the pilot. So they didn't really look into whether or not this would work. Okay, this is an article published on Huffington Post by Catherine Murphy, who's the CEO of the Patients Association. For reasons that aren't terribly clear to me, the Patients Association are very keen to abolish practice boundaries. Now, I will do a separate video about that, but just for the sake of this video, down here, there's this sentence here: the government should look to abolish GP practice boundaries so patients can attend a surgery near work or by their schools, the child's school, for example. And here's a article in the Daily Mail. This is the online version. I happen to be at a checkout counter at my local supermarket, and this was at the checkout counter I think it was a Saturday, and I had to buy it. I never buy this newspaper otherwise, but I did in fact buy this. This was the headline front page article. Now here it is. Traditional catchment areas will be abandoned, allowing people to sign up with a GP near work or near their children's school. Okay, so this is the map of Tower Hamlets, and what we've got here is Bow, which is the top right-hand corner of Tower Hamlets, and that's where I work, the Tredegar practice. Commercial Road is down here, and the Jubilee Street practice is here. Now let's just say we've got a child who lives in Bow, lives in my neck of the woods, but actually goes to school next to the Jubilee Street practice down here. Let's just see how this is going to work for her. So this is the a slightly larger, more detailed map of the same area. So this is, again, Bow up here, and let's just say the child called Jenny lives here, Ordell Road, let's just say. But her parents decide that it would be more convenient for them to register at the Jubilee Street practice down here next to this school. There are a number of schools along here. So now, at the moment, it takes really, in the school run hour, it probably takes half an hour to get from here down to here. If it's, I can get there probably in 15 minutes on my bicycle, but I avoid the traffic. During the school run, you're stuck with traffic, and during most of the day, it's quite trafficy along these roads here, and so on. So let's just say, how are they going to be helped, this family, in being registered down here? Now, in order to see the GP, let's just say Jenny gets sick. She's got, a bit of a temperature. She's not too terribly unwell, so she actually goes to school. So in that case, really, for Jenny needs to see a doctor either just before she goes into school or just after she comes out of school. Otherwise, she's going to have to hang around down in Commercial Road in her mum's car or in a cafe or something waiting for her appointment, because there's, as you probably know, it's not easy to get an appointment, let alone target this appointment for the precise time that you are going to be finding yourself locally. So that's a problem. Let's just say that Jenny up here is too unwell to go to school, so she's stuck at home. She's not going to school, but she wants to see the doctor. So what happens? Well, she's going to have to do the school run with Mum down here again. Sometime, at least now she's not tied to the times that the school opens or shuts, so she can go throughout the day. So that's, maybe you might say, well, that's not too bad. Well, she has to do the school run. It's a 40-minute round trip. If they're lucky, she has to park and so on. If she actually came to see us, if she was living in Ordell Road and came to us, they could walk. They wouldn't have to use the car. But anyway, for some reason, they prefer to be registered down next to school. So let's just say what happens during school holidays, which are, not an inconsequential part of the year. What happens then? Well, they have to go down to see the doctor. They have to travel. They have to do the school run. They might not mind driving. They might quite like driving, but they're going to still have to do the school run. Now, what happens if Jenny is sick, but to the extent that she can't actually get, she's too sick to be put in the car and driven down to Commercial Road? What happens then? Well, the doctors under the new scheme, at the current scheme, and we're talking about January 2015, the current scheme, if you're registered away from your where you would live, is that NHS England will have arranged for another GP or another team somehow or other to meet your needs. So either you'll be going to a local GP surgery who are in the scheme, we are not, or you're going to have a visit by somebody, goodness only knows how, but somehow or other you're going to be visited by a GP who doesn't know you and won't have your notes. So that's the situation. Now, if the mom and the dad are also wanting to register down here next to the child's school, they're in the same boat. So, they're fine if they can get an appointment just after they've dropped Jenny off at school or just before they're going to pick Jenny up. Otherwise, they're going to be hanging around in a cafe waiting to be seen, and then they're going to have to combine that somehow with picking up the kids, and I can't see how this is really going to help them. And during school holidays, again, I'm not sure if they're going to want to be doing the school run. So I myself have difficulty understanding why this might benefit Jenny or her family. I forgot to put these two slides on here. One is a page from the Health Service Journal. Right, now you will notice here again, this is from March 2014. The project rolled out across England from October. That's the one we're in right now. Will let families stay with their GP but register as an out-of-area patient, meaning families can register close to work or their children's school. Now, again, this is the Health Service Journal. You would think that they have some idea about how the health service works, but I'm not so sure they do. Let's see. Now, one more thing, which is actually NHS Choices. Now, this is a page as it is right now. This particular page has morphed over time, but right now it still has this thing about the children's school. So this is from January the 5th, 2015, which is about 3 weeks ago. All GP practices are free to register new patients who live outside their practice boundary area, etc. So this means you can register near your child's school. So I hope that was clear and helpful, seeing how, whether or not being registered near your child's school is, in fact, workable. I think it is not workable. I think it makes no sense at all. But if you have an insight into how this could benefit Jenny's family or Jenny, let me know. None of my colleagues seem to think it's a good idea. It's beyond me how anybody could think this is going to be useful. So I think it's a pretty stupid idea, but as I say, please contact me. Now, in fact, I wrote to Jeremy Hunt and I said, amongst other things, I did say specifically, can you please explain to me how this works and why this would be a good idea? The Department of Health, he forwarded my email to them and they didn't respond to my question. I then sent off the question again and they didn't respond to the question. They responded to a different question which I hadn't asked, but they didn't respond to that question. Similarly, I sent an email to more than once to the CEO of the Patients Association saying, can you please explain to me how this works? You've said this is a good idea. No response. I then eventually managed to track her down. And we arranged, her PA arranged for me to ring and have a conversation on the phone. She couldn't make it because she was doing something else at the time. She was in a meeting or something. So I spoke to one of her assistants and I said, look, I want an answer to this question. That's really what I'm after because I don't think it works. And please ask her to email me. If she can't do that, then there's no point in answering. So I haven't heard from her. So I think it's pretty odd, really. And this is just an example of, there are other examples of things within this policy which just don't add up. The other thing that's a bit shocking, you will see I would have shown you that this has been reported to the press and so on, and throughout this policy, the press has essentially just regurgitated, copied, replicated what the Department of Health has said. So if the Department of Health say, it's a good idea, this is a wonderful benefit because you can register with near your child's school, they just repeat it. They don't say, well, actually, this is a good idea. So I find that odd. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll try to produce a few more of these things to try to put some highlights on why this is a questionable, rather suspect policy. Thank you.